Folks, we are back for UFC Vegas 99 after a stellar performance at UFC Vegas 98. The picks were, but we knew our spots, and that's what we needed to do. The bets were what was the real money maker, both literally and figuratively. So for those folks that are over there on the Patreon, it's patreon.com/130MMA. You can find the link in the description. Those folks did well. Hopefully you guys did well as well. And let's go ahead and break down UFC Vegas 99. We're going to jump right into the fights, but be sure to check out the links in the description. All of the links to all the stuff, it's down there. Well, we've got a heavyweight fight between a couple of athletic heavyweights. We have Austen Lane taking on Robelis Despaigne. Now, neither of these guys has a super well-rounded MMA skill set, but they are both very athletic, and that is kind of what gets them by at this point so far. Now, for Despaigne, he does have a pretty credentialed striking background, but the grappling, well, we saw how that went. For Austen Lane, he comes from a football background, but that athleticism has helped him kind of get this far in his career. So when we look at these guys, Despaigne 4-1 in his last five, but he's only 5-1 on the career, coming off of a loss where he was just laid on. And that's pretty much what you got to do to beat this guy. On the other side for Lane, he's 2-2 in a no contest in his last five, up and down in the career. Just kind of doing enough to stick around. For Lane, he's a decent striker. He does have a pretty good head kick. I'll give him that. And he's powerful, being a big, strong fella. But the striking defense isn't there. Wrestling-wise, it's, all right. Like, got good ground and pound, and he's athletic. That's essentially Austen Lane. On the other side for Robelis Despaigne, we don't really have a ton to go off of other than the dude starts super fast, super powerful, good killer instinct, and he's a freak athlete. He does have a pretty good initial sprawl, but once he gets taken down, he's just going to lay there, and he's not going to do anything. So here's the deal. This comes down to whether or not you think Austen Lane's going to get the takedowns, and if he can do that for at least 2 rounds and survive one, or if he can do it all 3 rounds. Despaigne is a huge favorite, and he probably shouldn't be, but I also think he wins. So it's like one of those things where it's just like, what do you do? I'll take Despaigne for the pick. Just stay away. This is probably a stay away spot. Let me know what you guys think. We find ourselves in the women's strawweight division where Melissa Martinez makes her return to the UFC. She is 4-1 in her last 5, and she's taking on Alice Ardelean, who all of the MMA incels are shaking their fist right now in anger that she's even here. But she is also 4-1 in her last 5 fights. In this one, we've got Martinez, like I said, coming off of a pretty extensive layoff, some injuries, and here she is. She is a striker pretty much entirely. Good striker, kicks to all levels, good combinations, and she can put her punches and kicks together. She has good movement, and she can fight out of either stance. Realistically, the striking should go to Martinez here. Ardelean isn't a bad striker either. She's pretty good. Good volume, combinations, the leg kick, I do like that. Puts her punches and kicks together. She's got some decent power as well. When we look at the grappling, I think it has to be on the Ardelean side. She's got, I would say, I'm going to call it good. I don't know if it's actually good, but she's got good enough grappling. She's got good throws, good ground and pound. And honestly, I think that's what it takes to win a matchup against someone coming off of a huge layoff that is pretty much a striker. So I'm going to take Ardelean to get this one done. I think if she gets stuck on the feet, she could have some serious trouble. I think Martinez might be the better striker, but I think Ardelean can get this fight to the mat. She should be a little bit bigger and stronger based on just kind of the way they size up in my head, at least, because we haven't seen them like square up yet. This is early enough in the week. We haven't seen that, but I'm going to take Ardelean. Let me know what you guys think. I'm sure a lot of you are still shaking your fist and didn't hear any of this. So strawweight here, we have Elise Reed taking on Jessica Penne. Now, both of these ladies are 2-3 in their last 5 fights. Not exactly what you like to see. 31 years old is Elise Reed. She's taking on the 41-year-old in Penne. Obviously, the age much in favor of Elise Reed. Once you hit 40, it doesn't matter what division you're in, maybe outside of heavyweight, but even then, at 40, you are going to be declining at least some, right? I know women tend to age better than men in MMA, so there is that, but still, 40 is like the cutoff where you can assume there's some decline going. When we look at Elise Reed, she's going to be the better striker here. No surprise there. She's got pretty good striking. Taekwondo style is basically what she uses. I believe she has a background in Taekwondo as well. Decent power for a 115-pounder. She can strike moving forward or backwards. Most fighters can't strike well moving backwards. She does a pretty good job at it. She's got kicks to all levels. Problem is she keeps her hands low, like that Taekwondo stance, so she is open to be hit if you can close the distance. I don't think she's really going to have to worry too much about that here. We'll cover that in a minute. And her durability has been pretty good thus far. Takedown defense, not that good. Once you get a hold of her, she can be drugged to the mat. Once she gets down to the mat, she has a hard time getting back to her feet. But she does have pretty good cardio, so she can wear people out by just moving backwards and striking and making them chase her and just kind of, making them have to work to keep up with her. So I could see her having more gas in the third. When we look at Penne, her striking isn't great. It's okay. She's got a decent jab, but she has trouble covering distance. Her striking defense isn't great. She has a pretty bad striking differential, if I remember correct. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but it's not great. She's had a long UFC career, though, so, she's fought a lot better competition than Elise Reed has, so take that for what you will. But either way, striking is definitely not her thing. She can get hit a lot. Let's put it that way. In the grappling, she's going to be much better. She's got decent she got good grappling, but decent takedowns. She's pretty good at attacking submissions, and she has like a pretty good set of different moves she likes to go to. Rear naked chokes and arm bars seem to be her favorite, because for MMA, those are probably, some of your more effective moves. Armbar I'll argue with, but it's not bad. But either way, she does a pretty good job with her submission arsenal. And if she gets this fight to the mat, she definitely has a possibility of submitting Elise Reed. I could definitely see that happening. However, I have a hard time picking a 41-year-old over a 31-year-old when both of them are kind of about the same, as far as like skill, just different areas. So I got to take Elise Reed. I don't want to. Please don't bet on this fight. If you want to, go for it. Do whatever the heck you want. Don't listen to me. I'm just some guy. But this is a fight where you just pass. It's just because if Penne gets her to the ground, there's a decent chance Penne gets a submission, and she is an underdog. I just won't bet her at that because I also don't think it happens. So let me know what you guys think. Bantamweight next, we have Joselyne Edwards taking on Tamires Vidal. Both of these ladies are 3-2 in their last 5 fights. On the Edwards side, it's kind of weird. It should be 3-2, but there's one that should be a loss and one that should be a win, and it's kind of But either way, we do what we do. Let's break this fight down. Tamires Vidal, there's not much to say. Decent striking. She will come forward, and she's got decent power. Jiu-jitsu, it's decent there as well. She's got takedowns against the cage that she uses pretty well. She will look for submissions, but she's got a lot of quit in her. Cardio's not the greatest, and she kind of just looks for a way out if you start beating on her. For Edwards, good striking. I do like her striking. Not a ton of power, but she's got a lot of volume. She's got good kicks, specifically kicks. The front kicks right down the middle. But yeah, her kicks are good. Good volume. Doesn't use a ton of the punches because she does like to stay at range. I don't blame her. That'd probably be a good move here against Vidal as well. Decent takedown defense, and she actually showed a bit of a wrinkle in her game that she's added, and that's the sweeping ability from the bottom. I'd like to see that. So realistically, I just don't understand Vidal still being in the UFC. She probably won't be after this fight. I think she's going to lose. I think Joselyne Edwards wins this one pretty easily. And it's surprising for me to be this confident in Joselyne Edwards, who I normally would not be confident in, but she's fighting Tamires Vidal. So let me know what you guys think. I think Joselyne Edwards wins this one pretty clearly. And next, the undefeated John Matsumoto at 15-0. He takes on Brad Katona, who is 4-1 in his last 5 fights, 14-3 on the career. Good matchmaking here, I think. Brad Katona is a good test for a guy like John Matsumoto. For Matsumoto, he's a good striker with good combinations. His kicks are probably some of his best weapons. Solid leg kick, absolutely deadly. Good front kick up the middle, and I think that will actually be something that he can use to success in this fight as long as he can keep it from getting caught. And he's also super durable. In the grappling department, he's pretty good there as well. Powerful double leg takedowns, good sweeps from the bottom, and he's got a very slick choke arsenal. He can switch to a bunch of different chokes. That might be something he's going to have to use here, but the problem that I see for him is he's willing to work off of his back at times, but thankfully he doesn't get tired, so he can continue to do this for the whole fight, do whatever he needs to do. But if he gets stuck working from his back against Katona, he's going to end up losing the decision, and that could be a problem for him. Now for Katona, dude's a solid wrestler with constant pressure. He stays on his double leg. When he gets in on the legs, he'll stay there up against the fence. Doesn't matter. Just keep working for it and holding people against the fence until he can either get the takedown or just mitigate anything they can do to him. And we've seen how guys can win fights that way if need be. Now, Katona doesn't do this just to wall install kind of thing, but if he doesn't get the takedown, he's not going to just go back to space and strike because he knows that his wrestling is when he needs to get it done. He'll strike if he can strike with you, but he's got really short arms, so that is a problem for him. He has pretty good control on the mat. Striking is just decent. He's got good, clean combinations, but like I said, he's got a really short reach, so sometimes it's harder for him to strike with guys that are longer. And then if he wants to close distance on that double leg, sometimes he'll get to where he's just swinging these wild power shots just to close the distance. It works for him. but it could result in him getting caught by somebody that's got good timing and good counters. So the cardio for Katona also there. I don't think either of these guys are going to gas out, and I think it's going to come down to just the fact that I think Matsumoto is just a little bit more well-rounded, and on the feet, he should be winning the exchanges. In the grappling, I can see Katona winning minutes, but I can see some of the bigger moments going to Matsumoto as well. I'm going to take Matsumoto with very little confidence because, guys, Brad Katona is the type of guy that could upset a guy like Matsumoto just by just being there in the wrestling and staying on top. And if you're willing to work from your back, that could be a problem. But I do think Matsumoto should be able to get it done, especially if he can spend minutes on the feet prior to being taken down in a round. So we're going to go Matsumoto probably by decision in this one. Oh, that was a bad check mark. There we go. Flyweights next. Matheus Nicolau takes on Asu Almabayev. Almabayev 5-0 in the last 5, 3-2 for Nicolau. For Almabayev, this guy, I mean, he's looked great since he's been in the UFC thus far. The wrestling is solid. Solid takedowns, very powerful in these takedowns, and he has a variety of different options for the takedown itself. Scrambles, top tier there. Good back taker, really good ground and pound, and he likes to go for the chokes for his submissions. Wide arsenal there, whether it be the rear naked, the guillotine, the Doris, whatever. He has a bunch of different chokes that he'll go for, the head and arm choke, whatever. Doesn't really go for limb submissions as often, but I'm not saying he can't do it. It just seems he's more of a choke specialist. Let's put it that way. So for Almabayev, uses the wrestling to win a lot of fights, but on the feet, he's not lost either. He's got a decent set of, striking skills. A lot of it's set up by the wrestling threat. He's got good power. He does spin a bit too much for my liking, but hasn't really cost him. Obviously, he's 20-2 in the career, so he's done pretty well for himself. On the other side, Matheus Nicolau. Now, this is a guy, I was really high on him at one point. If you remember a couple of years ago, I said this guy was going to be champion, and now I don't know that that's ever going to happen because his durability has failed him. It's one of those things where all the skills in the world aren't going to protect you from the lack of durability. I mean, that's the problem for him, right? And so for Nicolau, he's a good striker, extremely technically sound. He picks his shots really well. He can counter strike extremely well. Sometimes that results in him being a little bit low volume because he looks to pick his shot a little bit too much. But the durability, this is the biggest problem, is the durability. Grappling, solid there as well. Very good takedown defense, very good takedowns. When he gets on top, he's got excellent control, and he's very much position over submission, so he stays where he needs to be. It's the durability. That's the problem. And honestly, I think he could be winning most of this fight here for Nicolau. And I think at some point, Almabayev's going to, maybe feint a takedown or something like that, or even go in for a takedown. Nicolau's going to go to defend the takedown, and then Almabayev's going to come back up and hit him on the chin and put him out, unfortunately. I would love to be able to say I could pick Nicolau here. I got to take Almabayev just from the durability concerns. I think Nicolau might be coming back a little bit too early after being knocked out in his last fight. I mean, less than 6 months ago. I would like to see him sit out a little longer after that. But yeah, so we're going to go Almabayev. He's probably too big of a favorite, but that's okay. We're going to take him. The durability. That's it. That's the durability. Let me know if you think I'm overreacting to the durability issues of Nicolau, or if you think I'm on with it. Drop that down in the comments below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Here we go. A couple of veterans in this one here. Featherweight division, we've got Darren Elkins taking on Daniel Pineda. The 5-on-in looks a little bit rough on the Pineda side. 1-3 in a no contest, but he's been fighting some pretty good guys, right? They put Pineda in there against decent guys because they know Pineda is going to bring an exciting fight. That's what he does. Elkins is 3-2 in his last 5, but the competition he's fought is a little bit lower. So take that into account when you look at just the last 5 fights. He's beating guys that are getting tossed out of the UFC when he beats them. Pineda's fighting against guys that are, moving up the rankings. So there is that. It's a little bit different. Not to say that either guy couldn't beat the same level of competition. I think these guys are in a very similar spot in their career. But that's just why the 5-on-in looks the way that it does. Let's start with Pineda. Dude is a very good grappler. Dude is solid everywhere. Good takedowns. Absolutely slick submission arsenal. This guy is very deadly with his submission grappling. Good top control. And he's got pretty good ground and pound as well. So for Pineda, if this fight's on the mat and he's on top, very, very dangerous. If he's on the bottom, you would assume Elkins can control, but, with the wrestling background, but we'll get to that. But yeah, very, very slick in the grappling. Decent striking. He's got a lot of power. The grappling threat kind of sets this up because he'll look for the takedown and people have to defend it. They have to respect the takedown, and that's where the power comes in. He starts extremely fast. He's very much kill or be killed, and that can result in him kind of gassing out. There are very few fighters in the world that can say that they have 28 wins, all of which are by finish. Daniel Pineda can say that. This dude wants to get you out of there, and he's a real fighter's fighter type of deal. That's what Daniel Pineda is. So you got to respect that at least. Although there were quite a few PED problems back in the day, so there is that too. So you got to drop the respect a little bit. But either way, for Darren Elkins, solid wrestling. This dude's wrestling is what gets it done for him. It's the pace of the wrestling as well. He's got good takedowns, good top pressure, and very, very good scrambles. The scrambling ability from Elkins, even at the age of, 40 now, the dude still can scramble with the best of them. So I like to see that from Elkins. If he stays on top, I think he can stay safe, but there is a chance he gets caught in some sort of choke because Pineda is very dangerous with that. But I think if he can get on top, he should be able to win minutes there. His problems are the fact that his face is nothing but scar tissue, so that could be an issue for him. But he does have decent striking. He can come forward, he can put his punches and kicks together, even if it doesn't look super crisp. He puts it together well, and that it goes well with his wrestling style. And he's going to have the better cardio here because this guy does not seem to ever get tired no matter what. Here's the deal. Elkins has never been subbed to my knowledge. And I think Pineda is the type of guy that could get it done with the sub. I've gone back and forth on this one so many freaking times. By golly. Okay, we have Pineda, who could definitely get the sub, and against Elkins, who's never been subbed, even against some guys that man, okay, I'm going to take Elkins. I think he's going to be able to outpace him late in the fight and not get subbed. We're going to take Elkins. This is tough. Just watch this. Crack open an ice cold root beer, kick your feet up on the coffee table, and watch this one, guys. They're nearly, both of them are nearly 40, if not 40. 40 and 39. It's a fight that we're going to let these guys go out there and do their thing. It's going to be an exciting fight. Could even get fight of the night. But yeah, it's so hard to be confident in either guy because at any point, one of them could just massively drop off from what their skill was in the fight we saw a few months back. So let me know what you guys think on this one, and I will see you guys in the next fight. Bantamweight, we have Brady Hiestand taking on Jake Hadley. Hadley, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He is now up at bantamweight as opposed to flyweight. Hiestand on the other side, 4-1 in the last 5. He's 8-2 in the career, but here's the deal. I don't think he lost that Tercios fight. So, realistically, he should be undefeated in the UFC. That's just my opinion. So, let me know what you guys think about that. When we look at this fight here, Jake Hadley looked great in his last matchup on short notice. But he missed weight, which is weird because he's coming up from flyweight to bantamweight, and in that matchup he did as well. And I believe he missed weight against Loughran, which is interesting. That made me more confident in Hadley because Loughran needed takedowns in that, and he wasn't going to be able to get him against Hadley, who was able to just, be bigger and jab him up and beat him up. So that was nice. We cashed on Hadley there. Pretty decent sized win there. Hadley is a solid grappler. He's got good takedowns when he wants to use them. He hasn't used the double leg so much in the UFC. Still uses the body lock. But his back takes, excellent there. He's very good at taking the back, and he is quick to snatch up submissions. On the feet, he's got good, pretty clean striking. Not a ton of power, but he can sit there and poke you with the jab, put together combinations. He can counter strike. And he has that high elbow guard that he uses quite a bit. And that's done well for him thus far. The thing is, how is he going to do up at bantamweight where the guys are going to be probably just, a little bit bigger, hit a little bit harder? We haven't seen it yet outside of the Loughran fight, but there was a lot of questions after that fight, but Hadley looked really good. On the other side, he's fighting Brady Hiestand. Solid grappler, solid wrestler. Takedown volume is there. He is relentless with it. His pressure and his pace in the wrestling is just absolutely unmatched in the division. I guess outside of maybe like Merab, but either way, Brady's got some of the best pressure and just pacing to put on guys in this division with the wrestling. Good ground and pound, and he's a good back taker as well. Decent striking. It's the defense on the striking that really takes away some points for him because the striking defense is pretty poor. Unfortunately, he just gets hit in the face a lot. But he comes forward, his wrestling threat sets up his hands, he'll throw the 1-2, whatever. He's tough as nails, so it doesn't really matter that much. Dude's a dog. He's got tons of cardio, and he's got tons of pace. Here's the thing. Brady's going to get the takedowns because I don't think Hadley's going to be able to stop the forward pressure. Because what can Hadley do with his striking to stop a guy like Hiestand who's just going to walk through what Hadley's going to throw? Like, what he's going to do is jab him and, try to counter strike him. Brady's durable as heck, and he's going to keep coming forward. So he's going to be able to get takedowns. What is Hadley's best path to victory in this one? He's going to have to get a submission, but I don't think he's going to. I think it's going to be a fight where Brady's able just to keep pressing, and he might not look good in the first round. He might eat a lot of shots on the feet, He'll probably secure a takedown or two, but it's going to be where Hadley's probably piecing him up a little bit on the feet, but he's just not stopping the pressure. And Brady's going to keep coming forward, and he's going to break him throughout the fight. I think Brady Hiestand wins this fight at a pretty high clip. I think he's going to be able to use that constant pressure, constant pace, and durability that he has to get another win. And I think he's going to do that here. I think it's probably going to be a late finish. Dude likes to get it done in round 3. So let's go with it again. Another Brady Hiestand round 3 finish, probably from ground and pound. I don't think he's going to sub Hadley, but maybe he does. But I'm going to say ground and pound. Let me know what you guys think. Also, Brady's the man, so I am a little biased. I need to put that out there. Brady's the man. He's been on the channel before, friend of the channel. I like the guy, so take that for what you will. I'll see you guys in the flyweights next. Charles Johnson takes on Sumudaerji. Both of these guys are this good matchmaking because both these guys are 3-2 in their last 5 and 16-6 on the career. That's pretty good. I like that. I like to see that. Very even in the numbers, at least. So on paper, great matchup. Sumudaerji, when you look at his name here, it looks like he's got a kind of a cute little off-kilter smiley face there, so that's cool. Has nothing to do with the fight, but just kind of noticed that right now. Charles Johnson, the dude has resurged, right? He started not looking so good in the UFC. Looked like he might get cut, and then all of a sudden rattles off some wins, and he's on a decent winning streak right now. So when we look at Charles Johnson, the dude is a solid striker. His body kick is one of my favorite things that he has. Very good combinations. He puts his punches and kicks together well. He can strike to all levels, even in combination. Legs, body, head, mixes it all up very well. So you love to see it from Charles Johnson. It doesn't have, like, I say he doesn't have one-shot power, but obviously he's coming off that knockout to Josh Van. But typically he doesn't have just like one shot, just knock you dead power. But he just puts out a lot of strikes and can just really turn it up as the fight goes on. His grappling is pretty good as well. He's got good ground and pound and submissions, and he works it together, right? It's not like he gets a lot of submissions, but he'll use a submission attempt to open up the ground and pound, and he'll use the ground and pound to open up a submission attempt. Good scrambling ability. Takedown defense has struggled a little bit, but he does usually get back to his feet. Biggest issue for Charles Johnson is right here. It's the slow starter. I still don't think he's won a single first round in the UFC. Maybe one, but yeah, the dude just does not win a ton of first rounds. So start slow. Probably going to be a similar thing here. He's going to spend that first round just kind of doing what he does and, thinking about what he's going to do next. And then rounds 2 and 3, he's going to start turning it on. For Sumudaerji, good striker, good movement. He darts in and out really quick. I like to see that. Very fast hands, good volume, and he's got really long, rangy, straight punches. All that's good, but the grappling is just not there. He just does not have the skill that he needs on the mat. Struggles off his back. Every single one of his 6 losses are by submission, so that's a bad sign. And the cardio has failed him before. Now, I don't know if it will in this one. I don't know. It's been a while since we've seen him, so maybe it's better. But against a guy like Charles Johnson, who's not going to get tired, I think the cardio is going to be a problem for him. So for me in this one, honestly, I've got to take Charles Johnson. It's just, I don't know how you pick against the guy at this point. The dude's been looking better and better every single fight, and Sumudaerji just hasn't. And I'm going to take him by sub because, the trend is telling me to take the sub, so we're going to say Charles Johnson gets a submission. I don't know if he actually will. Might be the first guy to beat Sumudaerji by something other than a submission. But I feel like the path is there, obviously. So we're taking Charles Johnson. Let me know what you guys think. And I'll see you bantamweights next. Here we have Rob Font taking on Kyler Phillips. And both of these guys have kind of been on opposite trajectories as of late. Font 1-4 in his last 5. But this guy's been fighting some of the best in the division. So you can't really hate on him too bad. Those losses, he's looked good in moments. Some he's looked really bad. But it's against the top guys. For Kyler Phillips, he's 4-1 in his last 5. He's fought some good competition, don't get me wrong, but not the level that Rob Font's been fighting. So it's going to be kind of that crossroads. Is Phillips' trajectory up going to go past where Font is? And is Font's trajectory down going to just drop below where Phillips is? Where are we going to see these two meet on the axis, right? So for Kyler Phillips, let's start with him, right? He's a solid striker, very dynamic attack. Puts together combinations, and his kicks are probably his best weapon on the feet. He can technically fight from either stance. He can, do all this stuff, but he does get a bit too flashy at times. He's toned it down, which is good, but there are still moments where he tries to get a little too flashy and get a little cute, and that could be a problem for him. But I do think overall his attack is very dynamic, like I said, and his kicks are going to be a good weapon for him here. The grappling, I think, is his best path in this fight because he's going against, obviously, Rob Font, who is very much a boxer. The grappling, he's got good timing on his takedowns. He picks his spots really well, knows when to go for it. good ground and pound, and his submissions are very opportunistic. He takes what is given, and if you give him the opportunity, he'll take the submission. On the other side, Rob Font. The boxing on Rob Font's side is going to be far better than the boxing of Phillips. And that's not to say Phillips can't box. I'm just saying Rob Font's very good there. Good volume, very accurate, excellent footwork, fast hands, can do it from either stance. And that jab is excellent. There's no setup on it, like no tell. It's just boom, right there. Hits the jab. You didn't even know it was coming. It sets up a couple of combos that he really likes. That 1-4 combo and that 1-6 combo. It's the jab to the rear hook and the jab to the rear uppercut. He does those a lot. And those are things that he uses to help him against takedown defense, or in his takedown defense as well. Because his takedown defense in itself isn't great. But if he throws the jab, and a lot of people are going to want to shoot takedowns under the jab, and he comes under with the uppercut here, that's going to be a problem. Or he goes jab, step off into that hook, and kind of checks you on the way through and hits you with that. But he can also use it to rip to the body or come forward with it. But the jab sets up pretty much all of his offense, and his jab is his best weapon. Grappling, he's pretty good. If he's on top, his ground and pound's good. He's got good submission defense. He's hard to get out of there with a submission. But the takedown defense, like I said, it's not his best. He will work to get back to his feet. Whether it's successful or not is, a little different story. It depends on the fighter. He has been held down in the past, but he doesn't just accept bottom position until it's basically forced upon him. For me in this one, though, you have to go Kyler Phillips. I got to assume it's his time. The amount of damage that Rob Font has taken in his last, 5 or so fights, it's a lot. Like, this dude has been, you look at his face after some of these fights, and he looks beaten. So you got to assume that's taking a toll on him too. I don't know, but we're gonna take Phillips. It's a show me spot though. Like, I don't feel super confident in him, especially with him being a massive favorite. Because Rob Font's not a bum. The dude can still go out there and win fights, and I think this is a fight that he could win, especially if he can keep it in boxing range. But we're going to take Phillips to get this one done. The trajectory's there. The skill set is there. It's just, can he put it all together? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm flying through this card. I haven't even asked you to like this video yet. So if you're still watching this video, maybe you've had a good time, maybe you've learned something, or maybe you're just feeling generous. If you would scroll down, click that like button for me. I do greatly appreciate it. It helps the channel a lot. Doesn't cost you anything. And then while you're down there, if you want, there's a share button. You can send this to somebody. Send it to your Twitter. Send it to your Facebook. Are you 40? Maybe you're 40. Maybe you like to use Facebook. Send it to your Instagram. Maybe you're cool like that. Whatever. Send it to a friend personally. Text message, email, Snapchat. I don't know. I don't have a Snapchat. I'm not cool like that. But either way, send this to somebody. It helps me. It helps them because they get this knowledge. And it helps you because maybe your friend's going to say, gosh, I really appreciate you sharing that. But either way, if you'd started going down and hitting that like, by the time I started talking, you should be back up here by now. Let's break down the main event. We have a 185-pound matchup between Michel Pereira and Anthony Hernandez. 5-0 in the last 5 for both of these guys. They are both on an absolute heater. Pereira moved up from welterweight to middleweight. This is a much better weight class for him. He's looked great since moving up. And Hernandez has just been on a tear for quite some time now. Just putting a pace on guys. Let's start with Anthony Hernandez here. We call him Fluffy. That's the name, and it's a good one for him. So Fluffy here, he is a good striker. Not a great striker, but a good striker. He's got good forward pressure, good volume, and puts together combinations, but it's all to set up the grappling, and that's where he's best. He uses a very high motor to grapple with these guys. He's got solid takedowns. The volume of takedowns is there. The fact that he chains these takedowns together and that he can get mat returns every time somebody tries to get back up and just continually go with this. He's got good scrambles. He attacks submissions. Like, this here is just the highest pace grappling you're going to find at middleweight. Nobody grapples at that high of a pace at middleweight. It's extremely impressive. Now, in the striking, that's where he can be hurt. That's where he can be taken down. A lot of people made a big thing about his body shots, and he's not done well there. I get it. A lot of times it's because he's coming forward recklessly, and he'll be trying to get a takedown. And when you get hit to the body, especially when you're breathing in, it will knock the wind right out of you bad. So if you catch somebody, it's like if you breathe out and then you hit in the body, your core is tight, you're stronger. But if you're breathing in and as you're getting ready to go shoot your takedown, that's when it's going to hurt. That's when it's going to knock the wind out of you. So because you go in and then out as you exert, that could be it. That could be, I don't know, maybe he just doesn't do enough sit-ups, whatever, I don't know. But either way, the body shots have been a problem for him in the past. He was able to weather a couple against Kopylov, so there we go. For Michel Michel is a good striker. Very good movement, the power, love the flying knees. He's explosive. But the key for him here is he does work the body. He works it with both punches and kicks. So if you're Michel and you're working those punches and kicks, that's, if you're working them to the body, that's what you're going to have to do to beat a guy like Hernandez, because you want to just knock that wind out of him. You want to hit the liver. You want to break that pace that he has. And he could do that, definitely. Michel Pereira could definitely do that here, and this is the path, right? With the grappling, he's got decent takedowns of his own. I don't know that he uses them here. I don't think that's a good move. He's got good sweeps from the bottom. He can also attack some submissions, but I just don't see that happening against Hernandez. The thing that we don't know is the cardio. I put a question mark here. He's struggled from cardio in the past, and it used to be because he'd do all sorts of goofy, like backflips and all that stuff, even before the fight started, but like mid-fight, just do all sorts of crazy stuff. He's toned it down. But we haven't really seen him go late enough in a fight lately to know if that's fixed the cardio problem. So I don't know. But I am very confident in saying that Hernandez is going to have the better cardio, because I don't know that anybody's got the cardio to keep up with this guy at middleweight. Knockout upside here for sure. If Pereira wins, I think it is a knockout. I don't see him winning a decision over Fluffy, and I don't see him submitting him. But I can definitely see him knocking him out. On the other side, Hernandez probably could technically win anyway. He could win a decision. He could win like an attritional, like just ground and pound knockout, or he could get a submission just by breaking him with the pressure and pace. Because I think he has more paths to victory, I've got to side with Fluffy here. I'm taking Anthony Hernandez to win this fight, and it's going to be a really sweaty first round, maybe 2 rounds. But I think as the fight goes on, he's going to get better and better, and Pereira's going to get less and less. So we're taking Anthony Hernandez. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I understand why a lot of people really like Michel Pereira. He's been very, very impressive since moving to middleweight. But I think this is a tough matchup for him, and I think this is the one that sets him back. Not a big deal. He can bounce back from that. Let me know what you guys think. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys next time.